Welcome back to Venom, right here at Comicstorian, where we take your favorite comic books, video games, and movies, break them down into digestible bites, giving you a synopsis and reading it dramatically back to you. Today we're going to be covering Venom, issues 26 to 30, the prelude to The King in Black. And today's video is brought to you by BetterHelp, guys. Has the quarantine been affecting your mental health as it has mine? Or perhaps you've been struggling with mental health for a while? Or are you looking for counseling to help you be your happiest self? Well, BetterHelp might be for you. BetterHelp is not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it is professional counseling done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise available that might not be available in your local area, and to make it better, this service is available to clients worldwide. You can log on to your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get a thoughtful and timely response, plus you can schedule weekly video and phone sessions. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/complete. That's BETTERHELP.com and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an e-professional. And as a special offer for my Complete Story listeners, go to betterhelp.com/complete and get 10% off of your first month. Now, I do want to take a quick second, guys, to note, yes, this is the company that had a lot of controversy a few years ago, but they took that controversy and cleaned up the service. So this is their attempt to try and show you that they have cleaned up their service. So consider it today, 10% off your first month, and let's get into that Venom video. So let me explain a little bit as to how we got here and what is going on, and then we're going to cut right into the story. Starting all the way back at Venom number 1, Knull, the King of the Symbiotes and the King of Darkness, was discovered, and he was battling against Venom. And Venom realized that Knull was on his way to Earth to conquer it and destroy it, to kill the light within. Over the span of about 20 issues, we discovered that Eddie Brock has a son named Dylan who has weird powers over symbiotes, such as the ability to control them. He also discovered that Carnage was free, and that Carnage had made a cult to try and bring Knull to the planet Earth. In the final battle against Carnage, Eddie Brock had to choose between saving his son or stopping Carnage, and of course he chose saving his son, supposedly dooming Earth to the invasion of Knull. He warned the Avengers that Knull was coming, and he wants them to prepare for the big battle, that the King of Darkness is coming to Earth. But he also discovered that Carnage was still alive, so he went to Venom Island, where he burned Carnage out of his system so that he can get rid of Carnage. And while that was going on, we discovered that Dylan also has a symbiote, and that he can control the symbiotes fully. On top of all of that, there's a villain known as the Maker, which is an alternate reality Reed Richards who is evil, who has been helping Eddie Brock and Dylan trying to figure everything out, but he is still evil, and he has his own symbiote that is, well, you're about to find out how weird that situation is as well. What you really need to know at this point to understand what is going on is that Eddie Brock has Venom, they're preparing for the arrival of Knull, and Dylan is with him. That's it. Let's go ahead and move forward as Eddie tries to figure out what is going on with his son. Now, after all of the events that I just spoke of, we go to a dark alley with a man running away from a beastly figure in the shadows. The man screams out for help, but then slams face first into the broad chest of Eddie Brock. Eddie tells the man to calm down. "What's got you so spooked?" And the man points back, yelling, That thing! Eddie looks past the man, stating, "Oh, is that thing all? I'll take care of that." We realize that the monster chasing the man is Venom, and he returns to Eddie, and the man stares, asking, "The hell, man? What are you doing?" Eddie looks back as Venom covers his face, telling the man that he got a little tired of running, thought he'd let his partner bring him in instead. "He's a hard man to track down. Now, you've got some information, and we're gonna have a little conversation. Know this, you can lie to us, or you can live, but you cannot do both." So after a short time passes, Eddie hands Dylan his bag, telling him that he got the location mapped out on the GPS. Let's go and get this taken care of. Dylan sighs, asking if they have to, and Eddie tells him that they have to figure out Dylan's connection to the symbiote hive, find out what his nightmares about Knull are. They have to figure it all out before Dylan stops him, before Knull gets here. But Eddie stops him. No buts. As your dad, this is what we're doing. And as Dylan and Eddie continue, and they talk about preparing for the arrival of Knull, they swing off into the night as a large armored man watches from afar, telling them, "Oh, now, where are you off to, Eddie?" A few moments pass, and Eddie jumps out in front of an abandoned warehouse. He knocks on the door, but when he gets no answer, he throws his weight into a punch as the door swings open, and he comes crashing to the ground. Dylan begins to laugh, asking if he's okay, and Eddie tells him, yeah, if only the door could have opened up when I knocked. Maker looks at him. What? Oh, yes, sorry, had headphones in. Also, you could have just called me, Eddie. Eddie asks what is he doing, and Venom whispers that something isn't right. Maker says that behind him is a gate, a chronal gateway to other universes. It tracks a being's specific DNA pattern and directs them towards, well, I'm not going to waste your time trying to explain it. Dylan says that he can feel something wrong. He can't sense the symbiote on the Maker. And Eddie asks what does he mean, and Dylan says that he doesn't know how to explain it. It's like there's a hole in the Maker. So the Maker continues his work stating, so you know. That's good. You are fascinating. Your ability to sense others, what you've become, Dylan. Hopefully it will help when Knull arrives. That there's something left in this world when it's all said and done. Eddie asks him what is he talking about. Where are you going, Maker? And Maker laughs, telling him, once upon a time I would not entertain answers about my plans. I would have taken you questioning me as a threat, Edward. But simply put, I will not explain. I am leaving, or rather, we are. A Venom symbiote begins to cover the Maker, and Eddie lunges in, but the Maker holds out his fist, punching into Eddie, expelling him from Venom. Maker then explains that before they begin fighting, the reason they cannot sense his symbiote is because it is not of this world. And what's more, it is different, Edward. The symbiote was made in a lab, which makes it synthetic, artificial, which means it can be improved. As Venom quickly returns to Eddie, Eddie says that he doesn't really care where he's going or what he's up to. He just needs the Maker to look at Dylan and... But just then the alarms begin to blare and the Maker says that it would seem that we have an intruder, Edward. Don't be alarmed, it would take the collected ordnance of an army to breach this. Suddenly, Venom screams out, it's Virus! And a second later, Virus blows open the door with pumpkin bombs asking if he thought he could run. Eddie shields Dylan and Maker asks, and who the hell are you supposed to be? But Virus ignores him and opens fire on Eddie asking, did you think you could get away from ruining my life? You and your little boy are about to. But Eddie launches himself at a Virus, yelling, I don't even know who you are, but if you threaten Dylan again. Virus punches back asking, you'll do what? While the two of them begin to fight, Maker sighs asking, why can I never get any work done while this man is around? Suit? The symbiote suit responds stating, yes sir. And the Maker holds out his arms, telling it, wrist cannons. The Maker opens fire, with Virus using Eddie as a shield, stating, at least you're good for something, Eddie. Eddie responds with, and what are you good for? Your taped-up armor couldn't even take a bullet. And what is that thing you're flying on? An old gobbling glider? Who are you? Virus chucks him into a wall. You want to know who I am? I'm the man whose life was ruined. My name is... But before he could say it, another explosion goes off with the Maker screaming out, no! The portal begins to activate, and it begins to suck everybody in, sending them all to different alternate universes. The Maker wakes up first, realizing that he is home now, that he is in 1610, the ultimate universe. He looks around at the destroyed cities with signs on them stating, where are the Ultimates? And he states, this is perfect. Elsewhere, Venom yells at Eddie, wake up, this place is maddening, cannot think, too many voices, need your help, please wake up. Eddie slowly picks himself up, stating that he is there. And when he sees Dylan, he runs over asking if he's okay. Dylan groans, waking up, stating, it's so loud, where are we? And Eddie tells him that he isn't sure, they just need to get home. But as he looks out into the city, he sees dozens of flying vehicles and realizes he's not in Kansas anymore. As Eddie begins to take it all in, though, something doesn't feel quite right. Something feels off. Normally, Venom could pick up on its surroundings, but Eddie asks, where is it? And Venom tells him, I have no freaking idea, Eddie. Dylan gets up asking what's going on, and Eddie tells him that he isn't too sure. His memory's still a bit foggy. He remembers they went to the Maker to try and help Dylan, but then there was a fight and, wait, Virus! At that moment, almost on cue, Virus jets in attacking, shouting, what did you do to me? Before Virus could even get a hit in, though, Eddie quickly pushes Dylan out of the way and is launched over the side of the building. Virus follows up with a punch, but for some reason, this one actually hurts. Eddie groans and Venom tells him that Virus is using vibrational frequency gauntlets. They need to end this. Fast! Eddie roars as he bites onto Virus's arm, telling him, you have no idea how lucky you are! We try to make it a rule that we don't kill people in front of my kid, but my kid's not here! The two continue exchanging blows as they fall faster and faster down to the ground, but then Eddie webs up Virus, locking his arms in place. Venom tells Eddie that he's trying to focus so that he can help, but there's so much interference in this place. There is a hive mind that is so close, so powerful, maybe Virus breaks free from the webbing, shouting, "You have no idea what pain you've caused me, Eddie!" And Virus rockets forward, with Venom realizing that by tapping into the hive, "We have learned things from the hive mind. We are capable of so much. It's beautiful." Eddie tries to ask what he's talking about, but wings sprout out of Eddie's back, and he flies straight up into Virus. Eddie slams Virus into one of the buildings, and Virus kicks back, unlocking his suit's payload. Virus gives chase, asking, "Have you had enough yet? Are you gonna try and run? Well, you don't get to run! You don't get to outrun death!" Before Eddie could respond, Virus unleashes a devastating beam, burying Eddie into the ground. Venom tells Eddie to get back up. "We've learned something." Eddie looks at his arm and it begins to split apart, and he asks, "What is happening? That hurts! It feels like it's going to explode." Venom tells him to focus on Virus. They can take his energy. "We can store it. We can redirect it." Virus flies in to deliver the final blow, but as Eddie aims his arm, he releases a blast more powerful than Virus, sending him flying across the city. He looks back at his hand, stating that it hurt like hell, but this feels amazing. Just then, Dylan calls out for help, and Eddie quickly slingshots himself into the sky, growing out the wings, slamming back down onto the rooftop where he left Dylan. But when he looks up, he sees Captain America and all of the other Avengers behind him, all with a symbiote emblem on them. Cap says that he's going to need him to step out of the symbiote and put his hands behind his head. Eddie stops, stunned. "Hang on a sec. You know who I am. What are you?" But Cap pulls out his gun, telling him, "We have no idea who you are. And I'm going to ask you again, nicely. Remove the symbiote and put your hands on your head. Now." Dylan nervously says, I can sense them. Something is wrong with them. They aren't." At that moment, a red beam is fired into Eddie, and Virus climbs up again, yelling, "You cannot outrun me! With the tech that I have, it would take an army!" All of the Avengers turn their fire onto Virus, and during the confusion, Eddie webs up Dylan and yanks him off the building with him. Dylan yells out, "We can't leave Virus!" And Eddie says, "Oh yes we can, and we are! Getting you to safety is what is important right now. Besides, Virus can handle himself." Back up on top, everyone takes their turns beating down Virus. And just as Cap gets ready to bring down his shield, Virus says that he always wanted to kill an Avenger. As Cap closes in, Virus opens up with his cannon, blowing away most of Cap's torso. As the pieces of Cap slowly begin to pull themselves back together, though, he responds with, "Oh, that hurt. And anti-symbiote tech is illegal. You just earned yourself a trip to the hive." Meanwhile, down below in the sewers, Dylan asks what are they going to do. Eddie says that they just need to find somewhere to lie low for a bit. There has to be an explanation for all of this. Someone they can go to for help. And at that moment, a blinding light shines on them and a voice says, "I don't know who you are, but if you're running from them, come with us." However, for Virus, the ones that he met aren't so welcoming. He's dragged off through a long hall, asking what are they doing. "Let me go!" The symbiote Thor punches Virus so hard that his helmet breaks, and a man on a throne asks, "Why have you brought this man to me?" Thor says that this man possesses forbidden technology. He wears anti-symbiote armor. What shall we do with him? The man on the throne stands up. "Remove his helmet," and as the symbiotes do, the man leans in, stating, "I have no idea who this man is." Down below, the group asks Eddie where is he from, and Eddie says that that's going to be a little hard to answer. The leader says that they can tell that he is human, mostly. They're the only ones left who haven't been taken over by Codex and his hive. Eddie asks, "Codex, who's that? And what does that even mean? You're the only ones left of what?" The leader tells him that they are the only ones left of humanity. Eddie then says, "Are you the leader of this underground thing or whatever?" And the leader steps forward, stating that they are just an agent. Eddie sees the Agent Venom suit in front of him, and he runs up asking, "Flash! You're Flash!" The person is stunned, asking, "Do you mean Eugene Thompson? You think that I'm the ex-president of what used to be the United States? No. Sorry. How about we start off with who you are?" Eddie pulls back his symbiote, showing his face. "My name is Edward Brock, and this is my son, and..." At that moment, the leader pulls back their symbiote to show their face, and a woman in tears pauses. "Eddie?" Dylan asks who is that, what is going on, and his tears roll down Eddie's face. He sees his ex-wife. "Annie?" Eddie steps forward, thinking that he'd never see his ex-wife again. and Annie pulls her gun, telling him to stop. Don't do this to her. He works for Codex. Tell her now how he is here. Tell her! Eddie tells her that he was chasing a man in this world. He calls himself the Maker. They fell through some kind of wormhole and they landed in this crazy future. He's just as confused as she is. Annie tells him to prove it. How did he get his symbiote? And Eddie explains that one night he was at a church when he lost his job and her. It was going to end it all. She holsters her gun, telling him that this is all because of him. And Eddie asks how that is even possible. She says that in this world, her world, that night he went into the church, he pulled the trigger. Eddie steps back. What? No, I never meant to. I can't imagine what. Annie stops him, stating that she mourned for him. She almost lost her mind. She hated him for leaving her, hated his father for never being there for him, and hated herself because she could never make him believe how much she loved him. She was so lost, so confused, so angry. She was so mad at herself, his father, and that Parker idiot who drove him to this. And then something dark felt that anger. It came to her, and then Eddie tells her to wait. Her symbiote looks different then. And Annie says that it's probably like hers started immediately spawning, preparing for something horrible that was coming. At least their lead scientific officer thinks so. She was drafted into a shadow unit by their sadly former president to train new recruits. They were led by a man named Rex Strickland, the first human to ever bond with a symbiote. Rex and President Thompson died in the big war with Codex, and now they're all that's left. Do you want to meet them? Each of the soldiers behind Annie pulls their symbiote back to reveal their faces. The first is a smiling, mustache-wearing Peter Parker, stating that he is that idiot reporter from, well, you know me. Next is Cletus Cassidy, then Agent Wade Wilson, and Wade says that the people around here call him dead, but the final member, Andy Benton, tells him that they don't. No one calls him that. Eddie shouts, asking, Cassidy, you have that lunatic on your team? And Annie holds out her arm, stating that Cletus was the first to join them, and yes, he has a past, but with Rex's training and a lot of help from their science officer, Cletus is one of their best agents. Peter says that his spider sense is going off. Something is coming. They have to move. And as he finishes that, a symbiote juggernaut bursts in, followed by a symbiote Sabretooth, Thing, Omega Red, and Wolverine. Annie yells that they must have tracked him in the kit. Get your game faces on. The team charges in, with Annie telling everyone to not pull any punches. Remember, they aren't human. Eddie punches Juggernaut, stating that he is way ahead of him. But Juggernaut gets back up and nearly punches Eddie's head off, shouting, We are Juggernaut! Omega Red wraps Annie up, slamming her into the wall, stating that they will end this quickly. And that's when his head is shot off, as Wade busts out laughing. But while he isn't looking, Wolverine steps in, slamming his claws into Wade Wilson's back. And as Wade pushes off, he rips open his suit, telling everyone, You've arrived to Plan X. And the X stands for Splode, by the way. Eddie sees all the C4 strapped to Wade's chest, and he tells everyone to run. And as Wade says, All right, for everyone staying, let's go out with a joke, huh? Knock, knock. The Thing asks, who the hell does he think he is? And Wade says, I'm the only guy who's gonna survive this. Cue the laugh track. A second later, the entire tunnel system explodes, bringing down tons upon tons of rock and rubble onto the symbiotes. But back in Codex's lab, symbiote Doc Ock says that they have been successful in achieving full symbiosis. Codex says to release him, and Virus falls out of the test tube, with Codex telling him that he has been cooperative. His name was Virus, yes. We'll need to change that. Virus stands up, and he tells him, No, Eddie paralyzed me. He took my legs. He ain't taking my name. From now on, call me Scorpion. I'm Mac Gargan. Codex tells him, Very well, Mr. Gargan. Now, get back on your knees and sweat your allegiance to me. And bring me Eddie Brock. Back with the others, Annie brings Eddie to the base, stating that she would like them to meet their science tech and leader, Reed Richards. Eddie looks at the old mangy beard and hair, the goofy-looking metal skull cap wearing cross-eyed Reed Richards, and he says, Great, another one. Annie says that she knows that he's off his rocker a bit, but he's all they have. So Reed shakes Eddie's hand, and then moves to Dylan, asking, And what is your name? And Dylan answers, and Reed says, Dylan? Annie pulls Eddie to the side, asking, Wait, is it Dylan your son? Is he yours? Eddie tells her yes. Now will you please tell me what the... Annie tells him that in their world, Dylan is Codex. So she explains they had a normal life. as normal as a single parent could provide at least. But one night she came home with something to eat and noticed that something was wrong. There were all these drawings, and Dylan was stating, coming. Yes, the light has to die. She tried to reach out to him, but when she touched him, he took part of her symbiote. And that's when she lost him, and it all happened so fast. Reed and the others tried to help him, to free him of whatever was going on, but it was too late. Using the piece of the symbiote that he took, he was able to spawn hundreds more symbiotes, and then thousands, and then there were more of them than people. In the beginning, he seemed to be bonding to them, wearing symbiotes like all the others. But as the war waged on and his powers grew, he began to shed the hosts, to reject them, to control them in a way that no one thought possible. Dylan became a living hive mind, able to control the symbiotes even if he wasn't bonded to them. And together, they spread across the planet, smothering whole continents and leaving nothing in his wake but darkness and the people he had assimilated into his hive mind. No one was prepared. No one could stop him. He destroyed the world. Her son killed the world, Eddie. She's going to assume that his Dylan is like that too. Does he have the same powers? Is he able to remote pilot the symbiotes? Is he able to sense them, hurt them, even destroy them with his mind? Eddie tells her no, but then yes. His Dylan can do all of those things, but he is not the same. His Dylan isn't able to bond with the symbiotes at all. He's not a danger to them, he's just a little, but as Eddie reaches out, Annie pulls away, telling him not to touch her. She isn't his Annie. He is not her Eddie, and that thing that he brought here is not. Dylan steps out of the shadows. I can hear you. It's okay, I'm not a baby. I'm not like him, the other one. Codex, you called him? I know that I'm not your son. I know that I don't have a mom, but that's okay. Please don't be afraid of me. Annie places her hand on Dylan's shoulder, but as her suit pulls back, she says that she's sorry. She can't do this. She leaves and she hears Wade calling out to her, and as she gets ready to run to him, Wade's head falls into the water, rolling over, telling them that they need to get the hell out of there. Annie asks what is he talking about, but Wade tells her to just shut up and get everyone out now. We've been tracked. They sent... But before he could finish, Scorpion bursts through the wall, clamping down on Annie's head, shouting, "Where is he? Where is the child?" Eddie pushes everyone back as he grabs a hold of the exposed wires, and Reed says, "Wait! No one can survive that amount of energy coursing!" But Eddie tells him, "I know, I'm counting on it." He tightens his grip, turning his free arm into a cannon, firing it into Scorpion's head, yelling, "Get off my wife!" With Scorpion stunned, Eddie turns back to Dylan, telling him, "Now!" Dylan focuses his power, and a few seconds later, the symbiote covering Scorpion explodes. Annie gets up asking, who is that man? And Eddie grinds his teeth, grabbing Scorpion, telling him, "That's Mac Gargan! Or is it a virus now? It was you. My other could sense it. It was you in that ridiculous suit. This is all your fault!" Scorpion shouts, "You paralyzed me!" And Eddie stops for a moment. "What?" Scorpion struggles, telling him that Carnage almost ripped out his spine, and they just left him there. They can't walk away from that. It's not fair. Eddie sets Scorpion down, telling him, "No, I can't. So we're gonna make a deal. That symbiote came from Codex. We can smell it, which means you know where Codex is, and you're gonna take us to wherever that is." A short while later, after Scorpion's examination, Reed says that he's talking with Mac here, and the armor that he was wearing is from an alternate world's version of War Machine MK3, designed by their world's Tony Stark. The good news is that the armor came standard with an automated environment and technology scanning equipment for the purposes of engaging multiple targets at once. So if he can get his hand on, this tracking unit, they'll be able to build a gate back to Eddie's world. Eddie says, "Okay, assuming we can even get that suit, how long are we looking to build it?" Reed scratches his metal dome, telling him that with the limited resources that they have, he can confidently state 4, maybe 5 years, tops. Annie tells everyone okay, meeting adjourned. They have been working nonstop and they need to get some sleep. They'll regroup in the morning and plan their attack. A little while later, after everyone goes to bed, she preps her guns, stopping. She says that she can hear them sneaking about. She doesn't care which one of them it is. She can't sleep and is a bit cranky, so now's not the... Dylan walks in. "It's okay. I couldn't sleep either." Annie says that when they touch, her symbiote didn't burn. How is that? But rather than answer, Dylan hugs her. A few moments of silence go by, and Dylan says, "Because I'm not him. I'm not a part of Codex's hide, and neither is Eddie. And Eddie's symbiote doesn't get hurt by my touch either, so I figured it'd be the same for you. I know it's weird for you to be around me since you lost your Dylan, to see me walking here, but I was lost too when I was a baby. You at least have memories of the things you lost. I have nothing of you. And when it was all over, if the machine can get us home, I might not want to leave. Maybe you'd let me. But Annie just hugs him before he can finish. Later, over at Codex's base, he looks at the images of Eddie and Dylan, and Doc Ock asks, what is this? Doc Ock tells him that Scorpion's suit had a considerable, one could even say obsessive, amount of reaches on his target. One that he calls Venom. Their world's version of it, at least. Codex says his father, he's here, in their world, but he's not a part of the Hive. On the other world, there's a connection. A voice that calls to him, speaks to him to save it. It's almost as if, in their world, this voice, this black god, is coming. Just then the alarms go off and Doc Ock types away at the computer stating that the enemies are inbound. Looks like one craft, unmanned. Why would they? Codex says, I see. Brace for impact. The ship is not unmanned. In fact, I believe Daddy's home. A few seconds later, Eddie comes crashing in on the Fantastic Four hover ship and Annie charges in with their agents. Codex tells Eddie that he will bow. Wait, your symbiote, it won't. And Eddie asks, what? Won't obey? We ain't from around here, boy. As Codex swings, Eddie reaches out grabbing the mask, and Codex asks, you can't help but see your little boy, huh? But what you face is not a boy, but a god! Behind them, Cletus opens fire on the Avengers, telling everyone to keep pushing. Andy tries to shoot Codex and tells Eddie that this is his chance. Eddie grabs a hold of Codex, and Codex asks him, what? You can't even fight your own son? And Eddie says, no, I can't. It reminds me too much of how I failed. This world is everything I tried to protect my Dylan from. This is every nightmare that I've ever had about my son. So no, I won't fight. But Venom will! Venom seeps into Codex as he shouts, no, you can't. This is impossible. I can't bond with. At that moment, Venom whispers into Codex's head, telling him, please, we don't want to hurt you. We just want to show you a world where... But before Venom could finish, Eddie is shot from behind, and Scorpion, wearing the virus armor, tells him, look what I found, Eddie. Eddie looks back. We had a deal. And Scorpion tells him, yeah, and you're gonna put me back in prison when this is all over. At that moment, Scorpion charges in, and he is hit with a blast that dismantles the virus suit. Reed walks in with his giant gun stating, no matter the universe, I know the MK3 war armor machine, and how to shut down with one localized reactor EMP. You see, in this world, and I suppose any other, Tony Stark was a friend of mine. Andy then helps Dylan, stating that it's time. And Venom whispers to Codex, we're gonna take over for a moment. Please be calm. Codex is confused. Who? What is... But as Dylan touches Codex's hand, the two begin to see what their lives could have been. The shared memories between them, the life they've never known of, and that this is how they will win. How they will beat the darkness that was given to them. How they can beat it together because they are stronger when they aren't alone. Dylan slumps over and Annie asks if it worked, and Eddie says that he thinks so. They got him. Without the symbiote influence, Codex says, Mom? And Annie runs over asking if he's okay. He closes his eyes as he tells her, you were supposed to bring dinner home. And with his words trailing off, Annie tells him to wake up. Please, she's here now. Years go by and the world is slowly being rebuilt, without Codex's symbiotes controlling everything. As Eddie, Annie, and Dylan walk through the park, Eddie asks if there have been any other updates, and Annie says not yet. The doctors state that the damage done to him could take years to recover from, that thing, that Knull thing that they talked about, that it has claws in him deep. But he's alive, and that's all she cares about. Coma or not, her boy is home. Another few months pass, and Reed gathers everyone, stating that he's done it. He's been able to assemble a functioning version of the dimensional gate in less than quarter of the time. Now the machine is quite sound, but he is ethically bound to tell them that he is legally insane. So honestly, who knows? Haha! Anyway, please step forward. As Eddie and Dylan walk forward, Eddie turns back to Annie, stating to give it some time to, but she stops him. She says that she's not going to go. Her Dylan hasn't awoken yet, and when he does, she wants to be there for him. Besides, from what he said about how he left his world, he's got his own messes to clean up. But remember, when Scorpion attacked, he screamed, get the hell away from my wife. Eddie begins to tell her that he's sorry, but Annie leans in kissing him, stating that she liked it. She liked having that for a moment. She turns to Dylan and says that he's going to need to take care of Eddie, and if he hears the voices calling him away, just remember hers. As Eddie and Dylan get ready to pass through the gate, Eddie tells Annie goodbye. Maybe in another world. And Annie says, maybe then. A few moments later, back on the Prime Earth, Dylan asks if they made it. Are they home? And Eddie tells him, yeah, we are, but where did the stars go? And that is the conclusion to the prelude to the overall King in Black thing that's coming out real soon. Now, we're going to bring you the first 2 issues of King in Black literally tomorrow. We're already planning it as our Saturday video, King in Black, Part 1. So I hope you guys are excited about that. The stars are gone because Knull is here, but I hope you guys enjoyed probably the last normal Venom story for most likely a year, knowing the release schedule. Because basically we're going to do the entire King of Black thing, and then it's going to go back to a Venom story, so by the time we can get to it, it's going to be quite some time down the road. Either way, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support us even further, please consider going to our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where you can get early access to a lot of our products over here. In general, I really enjoyed the character of Dylan. I really hoped Annie was going to come back. I really enjoyed everything that happened in this comic book. Venom is still one of my ongoing favorite series. Anything Donny Cates writes, I'm really on board with. His Guardians of the Galaxy, his Thor, and his Venom. Either way, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.